Hello everybody. Today we'll use watercolor in a really fast and loose way to create an expressive painting. Welcome to Art in Purulia. I am Torit Mahato. We'll use very few colors, a touch of ultramarine blue, some burnt sienna, yellow ochre and a little bit of Pines grey. We'll initially just dab some paints of ultramarine blue and yellow ochre to create the sense of background sky, and thereafter apply some yellow ochre in the foreground to mark the ground part, and thereafter I'll paint the outline of a tree which is in the foreground, not really in the foreground, just slightly in the middle ground, so it will have slightly distinct features which you can see some of the features quite clearly. So we have light coming from the left, so the left side I'll keep it slightly lighter, and the right side where there will be shadow of the tree I'll make it slightly dark. So let's go through the painting. You'll realize how I'm building the painting from background to foreground using a very loose and fast approach. To give an impression of hills at the background, I've used a little bit of blue, or rather a little bit of violetish tinge to mark them, and thereafter for the foreground or the foliage in the foreground, this I'm making a very dry summer scene which is prevalent right now in my area Purulia. So the front part, now the grass is no longer green, it is all dried up, burnt up umber color, or rather brownish. So I'll try and depict that. The tree which is dry, a dead tree, the branches are still there. I'll use the top of the round brush to mark the branches, and thereafter I will use a rigger brush to mark the extension of the branches further. Here I am trying to depict a scene where the light is coming from the left side, so the right side of the tree will be having its cast shadow, so it will be dark, and left also will mark the outline of the tree, but the middle part where the light is reflecting will have lighter shade or almost white. The branches will be almost very dark brown or slightly blackish in color, and since we are just able to mark them because of the shadows, I'll also mark the other foliage which are there in the foreground in slightly darker tone. Now I'm using a rigger brush to depict the extension of the branches and finer details of creating some texture on the bark of the tree. I'm making this painting loosely based on a painting by Edward Wesson, where he has used the same fast and loose technique. Though not everything is exactly same, it has many similarities. Now the rigger brush is very useful for depicting these twigs and very thin branches. and also you can depict some of the grasses in the foreground. Now, so far as the composition is concerned, the most of the part of the composition, that is, you can see the two dry trees are on the right side, almost at the 2/3 of the painting. And to just fill up some of the gap on the left side, I am putting two small trees, and the foliage is depicted by just rolling the brush sideways. You can create beautiful impression of some dried leaves with the same color. You can use burnt sienna to depict the dried leaves. You can leave the painting at this stage itself, or you can add some minor details just to make it more eye-catching or more interesting. So you can use a dark shade of burnt sienna. You can mix a little bit of Pines Grey into it to make it even darker, and thereafter make the highlights, or rather the shadows, slightly darker to make the objects which are supposed to be on the foreground, you bring them to the front by making the dark outlines. That's it. I hope I've been able to bring home the essence of the fast and loose style of painting. You can only understand once you try, and try it with any kind of composition you have. You'll realize it gives a totally different impression. Thank you so much for watching, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe my channel. It definitely motivates me. Thank you.